Hello and welcome to Get in the Lab. My name is Meg Levu. I'm really passionate about video. After 3 years of playing around, I finally got serious and started to really serve small business owners with their own video production. I've authored a bestseller and successfully funded it on Kickstarter. I speak about video on a regular basis, and I have a wonderful online community called The Lab Rats. When I'm not creating videos, I'm climbing, cooking, and loving. In season 5, I thought it was time to bring back interviews to the show. I have fun and candid conversations with business owners I admire and share that with the world. We all may be out there to make money, but we all crave to connect and inspire. This is Get in the Lab. Hello and welcome to Get in the Lab. In this episode, we are talking with Sean Cannell. Sean Cannell is a very successful YouTuber with not necessarily the hugest audience, okay? So I'm a big fan of YouTubers. I follow a lot of them. I'm also very inspired by YouTubers because they are outside of the box that is podcasting or outside the box that is online marketing for the most part in my industry. So I love to go outside the box and see who else out there is doing really well and rocking it, especially in the YouTube space. And this is something that I always talk about when I give talks about video, as far as getting inspired about how to be yourself and being confident on video, is to look at people on YouTube who are just truly themselves. Some of my favorites are like Elliot Hulse, Omar Isuf, all the JK Films crew, and Sean Cannell is one of them. So he's built a very strategic and successful business model based off of YouTube without even hitting huge, crazy numbers. Okay, I think that's a big misconception that a lot of people have, and we talk about that. We really break it down as far as what people are kind of missing the boat on as far as YouTube and utilizing YouTube effectively in their business. Because I think a lot of people think, well, YouTube needs to be this space where I'm a star or I'm a YouTube celebrity. It doesn't have to be like that. Or I'm making crazy cat videos, or I'm playing games on the internet. It doesn't have to be like that. Okay, this is something that I talk about in the School of Video Marketing, where think in terms of playlists, which we can talk about later on in other episodes of Here in the Lab. But you're gonna see in this interview how he started out, how the support of his wife, his family, his faith has come into what he does now in the realm of video. And so Sean is old school. He dates back all the way back to 2003 and now still rocking it in 2016. As far as helping businesses, helping entrepreneurs, and bringing himself and his brand to another level using YouTube, okay? So enjoy this, and we'll see you on the other side. All right, what is up, you guys? We are here with Sean Cannell, right?
That's right.
Cannell, okay. Because I kept seeing Cannell for some reason.
Yeah, it's a controversy. It goes all the way back to my high school days. My football coach, end of the season, he's like, Cannell, right? And I'm like, it's actually Cannell. He's like, my gosh.
My God, yeah, that's all the time. And you are a very successful YouTuber. You've moved from a full-time gig on YouTube, whereas people are trying to move into that space as well. And I think that's going to be the theme, I think, for this conversation. I really just wanted to have a candid conversation about YouTube. I went ahead and asked my audience what, if they had any questions for you. I have some selfish questions as well. But just for the lab rats here on the show, can you go ahead and explain to them who you are and how you got to this space of YouTube and where you're at?
Absolutely. Well, I think I actually got into online video really back in 2003. 2003. And I was interning with my youth group. And in those days, the youth pastor comes to me, hands me a mini DV camera. Now we use SD cards and stuff. We're talking about tapes with tape in this HV30 Canon. He says, hey, start making video announcements. And quite literally, I started using Adobe Premiere those days.
What?
Yeah.
You're like true old school, true, coming from the legit source, man.
Yeah, 100% legit.
2003.
And this is what's so crazy is literally we would plug that camera into a computer with FireWire cable, and you would capture minute for minute the footage.
Wow.
And then edit it, and then we'd capture it back onto the mini DV tape, take it out, and put it into a VHS converter to play it Wednesday nights at youth group. It was ridiculous. Wow. And so that was when I got into online video, or video. Online wasn't even out yet. YouTube wasn't even out yet.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, legit.
But then that stuff starts to roll out, and so started to experiment. Eventually started a small business called Clear Vision Media, and started doing videos for like YMCA, Phil Smart, Mercedes, some different things, and started to experiment in the online space. And in 2010, we stumbled upon this thing of YouTube, but also kind of like affiliate marketing, which we can talk about later. We just started making this video. One of the first videos was called Gift Ideas for Him.
I've seen all those.
Yeah, and so during the Christmas time, we put this video out. Today it has almost 1 million views, but what we learned was that if the video kind of like ranked in search, people would look for these gift ideas, and you would get these YouTube ads, but also if you recommended a product with affiliate marketing, you get a commission on that. Right. And so we started around the holidays, but then all year round, the video would have these ups and downs. We started seeing like, well, this is creating a side income for us. And then I thought, well, if we just repeat this over and over again, we could eventually build that into something substantial. And that had a lot to do with going full-time on YouTube. And the only other piece to the story then is also right around that same time, I met one of my best friends and the co-founder of Video Influencers, Benji Travis. Fast forward about 6 years, now we've launched a project called Video Influencers that helps people build their influence, income, and impact with online video. And it's been going great. And we just realized, wow, you've got this YouTube experience. I've done the small business side. I've personally done it, like with a small channel. We've consulted and helped others. Now let's really help other people with online video crush it.
Nice, man. I'm so stoked that you're here too, and I'm super grateful because I've been trying to like just kind of find that initial spot where you sort of took off. And I think a lot of people ask this question, oh, what was the aha moment? And I'm like, there's no aha moment. There's all these little moments that leads to this thing where you're just like, you lay one domino in front of the other.
So true.
Every day you get up. I was watching one of your videos, how to start your day in positivity.
Yeah.
I was watching another one where it's like the juicing video and also the gifts for him and stuff like this. What was the moment where you were like, man, I'm here, I've made it? If that even ran in your mind. Yeah. I think a lot of times maybe we have to tell ourselves, I'm established when we're not even there yet, because we want to see that come true for us.
Yeah.
So how is that for you? How are you kind of laying down the pathway for yourself to where you can be like, step into your greatness? Yeah. You know what I mean? Every single day. Every single day.
I like what you said. I think that there probably hasn't been a time where I've said I've made it yet, because we're always achieving, we're always aspiring. But I definitely think that tipping point that we were working towards actually came out of a big crisis. What I was doing was I was trying to just take as many actions. I like to tell people, because we're so passionate about helping people turn their creativity into a career, turn their passion into profit, to turn their day job eventually into their dream job.
Right.
And so that's kind of, I was always taking those actions, posting videos even while I was working full time. Even while I was working for other clients, still hustling on the weekends to add to kind of my own library, my own portfolio. But what happened is literally in 2015, in October, most of our income was from client work. So we had people on retainer, and my wife and I literally lose 75% of our income in 1 month.
Jeez.
Just disappears. And we're like, my goodness, and it was one, and it was like a very natural transition of all the clients, but it just came all at once. Still, good relationships with them, but we were like, this is gnarly, this is crazy. But from that time, and I've got a great biz coach named David, he's like, you know what, this is your tipping point to go all in. And literally from October to then January 2016, we took all the actions I was taking before, but just like 10x them, and we were able to go full time within 3 months. But the truth is, I felt like it was kind of like overnight success, but overnight success takes 10 years. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
So there was definitely a jump off point. We were kind of felt like we were kicked off. That's what he was saying. It's like we had no choice, and
there's no other option.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no, you're not looking back. You're in a crisis mode, and it's just like, dude, we just got to go.
Yeah.
We just got to give everything. And I think if you could speak to the lab rats on that, where it's like, I feel like a lot of people may be in that spot where they're like, they're faced with two options. They're always faced with two options. They're like, I could go with YouTube. Yep. Right? Or I could stay with my job.
Yep.
And it scares the crap out of people.
True.
Right? So is it in your experience, you were faced with a crisis where there was no other option. can people simulate that or kind of like tap into that energy, or do they have to be in a real crisis where it's like, that's what it has to be?
You know, that's a great question. And the answer, I would really think, is going to be a little bit different for everybody. So one, I think you have to have self-awareness. I think that sometimes I would encourage every lab rat to dream, to really believe in themselves, to have faith, to realize there is this huge opportunity to do a lot of this stuff, but then to also be extremely practical about their own talent, their own rate of growth, how crowded their niche is, all those types of details. But for example, great friend of ours, Nikki Philippi, saw this opportunity, and her life circumstances were as such, with her husband working full time and they were living out of their parents' house, that she said, I'm gonna go all in for 6 months. And she just was working like 12, 16-hour days, Starbucks constantly, and she built her YouTube channel, broke through, and now they're still there today because she had a clear vision, and I think she even reverse engineered that her skills and different things. And then it was a major also, though, leap of faith. You're never gonna have total clarity. Here's the thing, you might fail. She might have failed, it might not have worked, but I think you absolutely, at some point, you gotta go for it. Like you said, I would encourage people, jump off, do it. But, especially if they're 21, they're 25, or they're 35 or 45 and they're single and they could bounce back from different things. But then the other side of it is then I think you also have to be extremely practical in the midst of, your belief and your faith and all the opportunity. Like I always was thinking I need to support my family. I was always thinking like I'm not a single guy who could go crash on someone's couch, if this falls apart. And so that's what kept me anchored in doing client work. And during my journey, I worked at Red Robin for 10 years, waiting tables. So from 2003, while I was interning at a church, and then eventually when I was part-time there, and even when I had a business, eventually it was only like 1 day a week, but I kept myself anchored to realizing I do have to still live the practical day-to-day, pay my bills, support my family. And that is not, sometimes people could lean on that as an excuse. So I don't think it's either or, it's definitely both and. You definitely have to follow your heart, have courage, but then look at the practicality of it. I think the last tip there would also be to get advice from the right people, not haters, not anybody that would have any ambition or any kind of jealousy or steer you in the wrong way, but you need voices in your life, good coaches, people that can speak to you. And people are like, well, where do I get a coach? How much does it cost? Not that necessarily, right? It's usually not that. But people who can kind of really see you for you are and say, yeah, you do have a shot. You should go for it. Be wise, give you some advice. Or someone who would have, enough trust in your life and you could receive for them to say, you know what? You should still maybe be cautious. Like build this on the side until there's a jump off point, because I'm not sure if it's gonna click for you.
Let me ask this question, where some people may see the glamour and the allure of YouTube, right? And they'll see your headline, which reads something like, be full-time on YouTube even though you have a small audience.
Yes.
Something like that, right? And so that they look to that allure and to that glamour, but the people around them, as I speak to your last tip here, maybe they're not so supportive. Maybe they're the people closest to them.
Sure.
And they don't understand what it means to vlog and to hold this thing up in front of all the time. It's like intrusive and all this stuff. What would you recommend to people trying to seek out that support when it's not there? Because maybe they come from a 9-to-5 background where they're like, dude, I'm all about the job. What are you doing on YouTube? That's for kids. Right, that's immature or whatever. What are you going to make, viral cat videos?
Yep.
So where do you go to seek out that support in that initial phase? Because I think it's so important.
Oh, it's absolutely critical. I mean, I think they need to listen to your show.
Thank you.
You know what I mean, though?
And yours.
Yeah, and that was my second tip. And get plugged into the video influencers community. Because here's why. Number one, I would actually venture like 99.999% of influencers we talk to in our own life, all of their immediate community is exactly that way. This thing is so new and weird that like 99% of the time, parents will have no clue what's going on. It doesn't make sense. Friends will be critical. It's unconventional. And it really is, that's kind of what a lot of people feel sometimes towards entrepreneurship. I mean, entrepreneurship's like you have a vision, you have a dream, you see a picture that nobody else sees.
Right.
And you wouldn't be creating something so amazing and so significant if it was so common, it was so average. So you do have like almost this like clairvoyance into what is possible, and you've got a courage to go for that. But what then is critical is, I think, to actually, sometimes it's not even stuff you bring up with other people. Like it's like you almost are living two lives. It's like you're Batman. You know, you're the Bruce Wayne side, and then you've got your Batman side. But when you're on the Batman side, you also got to hang out with the Justice League and rub shoulders with the other, you know, superheroes.
Right.
And so how do you do that? Well, that's why it's important to go to events. But even if you can't go to events, to get into Facebook group communities or to listen to podcasts. You know, to this day, I like to run a lot, and I always listen to podcasts doing them. And I like to listen in, just like any podcast, on other people's conversations so that they're hearing a lot of this. Because this is not going to happen probably at the dinner table. It's not going to happen at like the sports bar with your friends. So you want those people who can speak these things, even if you're just listening from afar. That's what podcasts are a great way to keep that input flowing.
Right.
And keep really yourself calibrated with the right information, the right mindset needed to succeed in this space.
How about you two? Yeah, I mean, Sonia's in the house. She's behind the camera over here. How did she feel about the vlogging thing? I know she's super supportive. I see that, and she's like, it feels like, without knowing the whole picture, that she knows and is okay with the whole vlogging thing. But I wanted to get your perspective.
Actually, she totally is. Like, from the beginning, she jumped in immediately, and I think that's a good question. Like, so I think on the one hand, she just is amazing. She's smart, she's brilliant, she's creative, she's super funny. She knows how, you know, she's awesome. But then, you know, if somebody thinks that, you never want to, you know, judge your mate or expect them to be somebody else. And so Benji and I talk about this on Video Influencers. Vlogging is a big deal. You have to have a conversation with your family about it.
Yes.
If you're not in unity about that thing specifically, it's just never going to work out. Or you create something. I mean, Gary Vaynerchuk, who is an entrepreneur, is a great example of somebody who's huge and has a big personality on social media, and his kids and his wife are on it 0 times.
0 times, yeah.
They're just not on it at all. So I think that you can still pay the path either way. But yeah, and so you have to discern either one, that they just kind of need to get comfortable with it and they may get there, or 2, they may never get there. It's not how they're wired, it's not what they want to do, and to not ever guilt somebody for that or whatever, just understand that, and that doesn't have to be a limiting factor. You know, if you aspire to be Shay Carl, who are famous vloggers, but your family's not wired that way, you're looking at somebody else, and that's not your calling, that's not your vocation, that's not ultimately what's going to work, clearly, because you don't have the elements in your life for that if your family's not on board. And I think that's why we shouldn't necessarily, we get ideas from others, but we really got to tap into what is our own message, whether that's vlogging or what is our own channel supposed to be about. And in the Gary case, our family's maybe not even involved as far as on the front side of it. So really just paving your own path there.
Right, and I think I get this question a lot. It's like, should I put my kids on camera? It's like, don't ask me that.
Yeah, exactly. That is so
don't
personal.
Ask me that, you know?
Yeah, it's crazy personal. They have to figure that out for themselves.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Cool. Let's take a break, and then we'll come back with the questions from the audience. I'd like to take this time to thank one of my sponsors, Clarity. They are a wellness company based on nutrigenomics and epigenetics. Nutrigenomics is nutrients for your genes, while epigenetics is gene expression. I've been taking one of their products called Calibrate for a while now, and the biggest result that I've seen is that I'm a stronger climber. I've never been able to summit the way I've been summiting before, and I don't get hungover. It's replaced my coffee in the morning, but I still enjoy drinking coffee when I feel like it. I love to mix it with coconut water when I have it, and it tastes awesome, no lie. And the company and its ideals is something that I truly believe in. Check it out at clarity.com/Meglevu. Thanks. Okay, cool. So we're gonna move on to some questions from you guys, actually. And the first one is from Jason Edwards. How does Sean determine what topic to vlog about?
That's good. So one thing that's interesting is maybe defining vlogging. We vlogged for a while. We actually stopped vlogging, and I just mean by vlogging. Some people think if you sit in front of a camera and talk, you're like a vlogger, because instead of blogging, you're vlogging. It's a video blog of sharing your thoughts. So that's true. But when I think vlogging, I think daily vloggers. People like, hey guys, you know, I'm going to the grocery store or whatever. And so, apart from defining that, what we definitely do is I started to realize especially with creating content on YouTube, it's hard to do that kind of random content and break through because there's a lot of people doing that. So the way we pick topics is a combination of passion meets research and what people are searching for. I don't know if that makes sense. So Jason's asking a question. I think the first thing that for your YouTube channel is you want to have clarity on a broad level. I always encourage people, they should actually create a YouTube channel like a cable network. So your YouTube channel should be like HGTV, or it should be ESPN, or it should be the shopping network and you review products and recommend things, or it should be entertainment like USA. And once you have enough clarity there, you're not going to see SportsCenter on HGTV, right? It's all going to be maybe home, decor, and so there's a focus there. And then once there's that focus, now you know that that's you, that's your passion, your channel has clarity. People know like, okay, just like my wife loves HGTV. She doesn't watch all the shows on the channel, but she loves that channel. But I'll tell you what, if they started putting SportsCenter in there and they started, she would change the channel. She would unsubscribe. So clarity on that channel, so critical. Obviously that's built around your passion, but then the research portion is literally, I use tools like Google Keyword Planner or YouTube itself. Everything in life, I'm constantly thinking up ideas of, what are people searching for? Like I wanna know, I'm gonna make a video that is gonna be successful in the sense that it's gonna serve the fact that people are actually asking that question.
How is this different from SEO? Or do you
think
it's
very much like SEO.
Okay.
It's trying to get, and what we're ultimately talking about is trying to get your videos ranked in search. So what I mean is I don't want to necessarily create a video that's called, if I create a video, a lot of people do this, Sean's thoughts on the day. Guess how many people who don't know me care about that? Nobody cares about it.
Unless you're an established brand where you can put anything you want, basically.
Once you're established, which I would think that people watching, and even for myself, nobody knows who I am. Like nobody, and for most people, especially starting out, nobody knows who they are, and nobody necessarily cares. That's the fundamental issue kind of with vlogging, is the instant you're like, hey, I'm going to the grocery store, nobody cares. They might eventually, but if you look at all of the big vloggers of today, It's Judy Time being a good example. She was a makeup and beauty guru first. She built influence there and then started a vlog. The Saucony Jolie's, the wife had her own channel for a while, and then they started a vlog. And
this brings into question, if I can interrupt, different channels for different things, right? So you're talking about finding clarity. So this is going to be confusing for people who have a personal channel. Like yourself, you have a Sean Cannell channel, right?
Yep.
And so you have a couple things on there separated into playlists. How then are people supposed to categorize or separate their multi-passions in YouTube?
So I would argue, at least from my perception, that my personal channel is my weakest channel. Because video influencers is crystal clear. It's either you like SportsCenter or you don't. This channel is all about interviews with video influencers and tips on online video. If you subscribe for that, it's all good. If I got on there and started saying, look, I'm gonna give you my views on politics, as soon as I post that video, people are gonna unsubscribe. Because I just kind of broke the trust of that brand.
Right.
So my tech channel is also clear because you want to learn about lighting, cameras, videos. My personal channel is awesome. That's what YouTube is all about. I can do whatever I want there. I reserve that right. But just like you said, it is kind of all over the board. And so I do categorize it into playlists a little bit. Recently we did a rebrand where we put a little bit of, I think now it says life hacks, vlogs, and it says product reviews, life hacks, and lifestyle vlogs.
Yeah.
That's still kind of all over the place, though. That is not that clear.
It's what I expect, though, from a personal channel.
From a personal channel. It's based on my name.
Yeah.
So that one, though, and I can see it in the comments, in the engagement, in everything that's happening there. That's when you get to a point where somebody actually literally cares about you, the personal brand.
Right.
Harder to do. Better to serve first. I mean, I always like to say a really strong, clear branding is kind of like Dave Ramsey. What's he all about? Money. It's like so clear. It's like you wouldn't think of him as the marriage guy. You wouldn't even think of him as the leadership guy, although now he has a leadership podcast. But he served first with crystal clear clarity. And then eventually, if you wanted his opinions on politics, people do now.
Yeah.
They do. They're interested in that. But it all started with serving once around a very, very clear niche. So that's why it's kind of the weakest channel. So I would say if somebody has a hobby and they want to build a personal brand and they want to do it, they should do whatever they want. They should just start the channel. They should experiment, and that's what I love about Sean Thinks, is I can experiment there, I can post things, I can have one-off successes. But what happens is, even with the Gift Idea series, which is a hugely successful series for us, we continue to do it. If I say, hey, subscribe for more gift ideas, and then I start hitting people with so much other content, you're always, like what you're building up with, like, on one end, you're tearing down on the other whenever you break brand.
Gotcha. So a personal channel is great for people getting started so they can experiment on what they like. Say they have multi-passions, right? And then if something takes off, then they can go ahead and create a separate channel from there.
Yeah, or steer. I would actually probably recommend that maybe you start a channel, you start posting around different passions. Like, so Sean Thinks, you'd have, like, we posted some cooking videos and those did pretty well, and we posted some other things. And then have this combination. In fact, I like to give, if we give the lab some really practical advice for clarifying, I think, a channel. I think you have 3 circles. If we are drawn out, you can picture them like overlapping.
Okay.
And the first circle is your passion. And so everything should be based on passion, because just because, let's say, a money channel like Dave Ramsey would be successful, and you could do it, and you had a proven path to success, and you had enough information, but you weren't passionate about it, you'd be unhappy when you got there.
Right.
And you wouldn't enjoy the journey. So you want it to be definitely anchored in your passion, stuff you love talking about, stuff you love doing. But passion is not enough. The second area is proficiency. And so if you're really going to break through, you don't have to be the best in the world, but you definitely need some expertise there. So then you have your passion circle, but then the overlap is, am I also good at this? Like, do people say this is your arena of expertise? You do have some knowledge here. Clearly you can help others here. You don't have to be at 401, but you're at least at 201, so you can bring 101 people along, if that made sense, you know? Just like you're just a little bit further, so there's a proficiency piece. But if you have proficiency and you're good and the passion's not there, well, you're going to be unhappy. But if the proficiency's not there, then you'll never break through. If I started I'm passionate about music and I do like to sing, my wife will tell you that I'll try to sing in the car. But the proficiency's not there, I am never going to experience success on YouTube singing. Yeah. And I don't want to sing on this video. Because it's just going to hurt people. It's just going to hurt their ears. It might even break the mic. And so then there's those two, but there's actually a third thing, and the third thing is profit. And that is where you then begin to say, okay, there's a passion side, and this is only if you're going to do it more than a hobby, but if we're talking about how to go full time, where your passion overlaps and where your proficiency overlaps, and then where there is a market. And that's why a brand is more, that's why a focused brand is more successful. There are people who want personal finance advice. There are people who want cooking tutorials, and you could potentially sell cooking products on a cooking channel, and you could go so deep in any arena. But if you only went off profit and you knew this was going to be lucrative and you're actually good at it, but then passion was missing too, well then again, you would be successful and you would be good at what you do, but you'd be unhappy. You'd be burnt out. Yeah, you'd burn out. So you have to have, I really think, all 3. And so to circle all the way back, if you start a channel and you're experimenting, maybe some videos you go, okay, this particular, because we have a video called how to bake salmon in a tinfoil boat. We're not going to follow that direction, but what we learned was actually that cooking videos crush on YouTube. Yeah. Because people just want to see the info. They're like, how do you barbecue corn, on a barbecue? They got like 100,000 views that gun. Exactly. Yeah. So if I go, okay, well that could actually, if I just kept going deeper here, and because my mom is like a world-class nutrition cook, like all these different things, I received a little bit of that. So it would be a profitable niche. I could probably work my way up to be like cooking for the average Joe and maybe create a channel, but that's not my passion. So even though it's successful on the channel, I wouldn't want to build the whole channel around that. However, once I got to clarity on what it is, now I could pivot the channel, and I would recommend not start a new one. Your old content doesn't matter. Once you get clarity, almost make it like a wide thing and just hone it down, hone it down, hone it down, hone it down, and then yes, maybe I am going in the clear direction. If it's appropriate, eventually you get clarity. We definitely had it with video influencers, and we're like, wow, this is our story. We've been doing this for over 20 years combined, the both of us, Benji and I. Let's start this thing, and we launched with crystal clear clarity, and it was appropriate to start another channel. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Love it. A little long-winded. It's good. It's really all useful stuff. Okay, these come from Brian S. Arnold. He's got a lot. Okay. So what are the realistic expectations for someone just starting out on YouTube? How long does it take to really find some traction?
What strategies do you use to get traffic to your videos? And when did you realize that you wanted to do this full time? I think we answered that last one, so we'll just answer the first three. So first off.
Okay, so first answer.
Yeah. Realistic.
Take a Saturday and instead of binge watching Game of Thrones or House of Cards or The Flash.
Guilty.
I love The Flash. instead of doing that, binge watch video influencers. It's like a college university course of the interviews, and you'd get a ton of more depth than we could possibly go into on this.
Definitely.
But now let's break them down. So just hit me with the first one, and we'll go rapid fire with some actionable tips.
Okay, realistic expectations for someone just starting out on YouTube.
So realistic expectations is that you should absolutely not expect overnight success. I think you should expect, you should be ready to crush it and really put in a lot of time and a ton of hustle for 1 to 2 years of consistently building.
You're talking about every day.
Even with a full-time job, but just saying, like, here's what happens. This happens all the time. People are like, I want to start a YouTube channel. And in fact, I promise you, this will add value to your audience. I promise you, the moment you start, life is going to happen. Like, seasons are going to change. So it's like really sexy and attractive for like a month. So for some people, like a week. And you're like, this is awesome. And the week was, the video was great. But I've seen a lot of people, they post about 4 videos, but then some stuff happens. You just have to have a grit and a tenacity to be consistent for 1 to 2 years, hopefully around a level of focus, because then you could build with focused content before you could expect to see, I think, some ROI, a return on your investment. That advice is not a lot different than small business.
Right.
They say you're not going to see an ROI for 16 months, for 24 months. So I would follow that same advice with YouTube. But what does that mean? It means you're investing your own money, your own time. You are choosing that a portion of the bandwidth of your family time and whatever is definitely going to this. Like, my wife is a rock star in that during the seasons, I built this as a side hustle with a full-time job. You could still do this. Like, you put in that time and commit to doing 1 video a week for 104 weeks. And if you have that much, that just momentum's going to help you get started, and then commit a margin of your time to just get better as you go.
Right. I think that's really important. Okay, how long does it take to finally get some traction? You just talked about 16 months to something like that. So I think we can say that for Brian, okay? What strategies do you use to get traffic to your videos?
So there's our two favorite are, one is collaborations. And it's kind of true. It's so funny. We were reading some comments that were hating on somebody we just did an interview with. Because this person reached out to an influencer and kind of got featured by that influencer, and that helped her grow. And as this person, really that's just jealousy speaking, it's envy speaking, it's them saying they wish they had the idea speaking. But I want to tell them, I'll be like, what do you think about Eminem and Dr. Dre? Dr. Dre put Eminem on.
Yeah.
Who put 50 Cent on? Eminem? So like at some point, like this collaborations, it's not new. Like this isn't like a new thing on YouTube. It's realizing that if you have good content, like you should be networking and potentially trying to get featured and collaborate with others. That is the absolute best way to go.
Right. Be the rising tide.
Exactly. However, it is tough. Not only is it talent, but also your connections. So in some cases, you feel limited, and you feel like if you don't have that strategy, what else do you have? And so this is what we tell people. We say that ranking videos is the #1 way to grow your YouTube channel. Let's define what that is. The way to get traffic is that when people type in a search result, a search query on Google or YouTube, and they say how to cook salmon, or they say what's the best camera for YouTube, or they say how to have more peace in your relationships, or they say how to get out of debt. All of these terms based around focused niche questions, how to do a smoky eye that doesn't fade, how to have makeup. I mean, there's questions, but what people don't realize is that YouTube's actually the 2nd largest search engine in the world.
Yes.
And so, wow,
using
now
that language, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Your question, you, the expert, the guru, the brand you're building, can be showing up on the other side of questions that people are entering into search terms and into that search bar. And so now what happens, if your video ranks, and just shows up in those top results, you get what's called views while you snooze. My friend Sunny calls it that. I love that, because even while we're sitting here doing this interview, literally I'm meeting new people. They're typing in a search term, and then they go, okay, this looks interesting. And then I'm like, hey, what's up here? Sean here, and I'm ready. And then, so if they like the video, they could subscribe. There's people joining my email list. There's people joining the video influencers email list. There's people who are buying products I've recommended or I've reviewed, all happening now at a massive scale because I've built a library of ranked videos.
Right.
Lots of videos that are found in search results. And so I would absolutely recommend people figure out how to do that. That's actually a course that I have. It's called Video Ranking Academy.
Cool.
Because that's the best strategy that anybody starting from scratch could do to grow. And not just grow, but let me just go a little bit deeper. I think you should be on Facebook Live right now. It's powerful. Periscope might be going away, but you can go on and you can reach people. You should tweet, you should post Instagrams. But here's the problem with all that stuff. Every day you have to show up and do it.
Yeah.
Social media is like overwhelming, it's demanding, it's tiring, and you have to show up every new day and post new content. The power of ranked videos is, yeah, it might be hard to get the video done, but once it's done, it works for you tomorrow when you don't do any work. It works for you a year from now when you don't have to do any work. It's like an employee that you pay once that continues to build your brand, market your business. It is absolutely, unequivocally the best way, I believe, to build your influence online right now.
Nice, man. Love it. Okay. What motivates you to keep sharing content when no one else responds? This is from Cynthia Dixon.
Well, number one, Cynthia, I can definitely empathize, because that is discouraging. I think it's recognizing that you're putting that out there. I think the motivation is definitely, I think, really tapping deep into your why, like there's a great book by Simon Sinek called Start With Why. So definitely checking that out. When you're really anchored there, you're gonna kind of hustle no matter what. It's kind of like, when I was, pursuing my wife, even if she said no, and I actually made a lot of really funny mistakes early on with stuff I was doing in our relationship. But even if I'm rejected, but you really want somebody, and you see some hope there, you just keep showing up. You just keep showing up. You just keep showing up. So I feel like if you're in alignment with your purpose, you can push through that season. I think there is a time and place to say, maybe I need to pivot, maybe I need to shift. I think people give up too early. I think 99% of people give up too early. So I think you have to just persevere through that season. And here would be the encouragement, Cynthia, is that everybody started with zero.
Yep.
Not one YouTuber started with 1 million subscribers. It's never happened. Everybody started with zero. Everybody had to hustle, put in the extra time early on. And I think early on it's having just a vision, knowing that you might need to push and persevere for a long time. But here's the thing, if you're doing what you love, it goes back to that passion circle. And if you're doing what you would do, whether you get paid or not, honestly, kind of whether you'd get noticed or not. So we interviewed John Kohler. He has a YouTube channel called Growing Your Greens. He shoots with a $100 camera. You could appreciate this. In all due respect, and we love John, his videos are pretty bad. Quality-wise. Yeah. They're shot on a $100 camera that he buys refurbished. It's an old, they're HD. It's like this old Canon Vixia, and he doesn't plug in a mic, and so it's like to us, it's like offensive. Yeah, because this is what we do.
Yeah.
But here's what's crazy is he has 350,000 subscribers. He loves. He's passionate about people being healthy. He's passionate about juicing.
Yeah.
And he's doing what he loves, and for 5 years his channel was largely unnoticed. But he wanted to share this message regardless. If he only was helping one person, that was enough for him because he was in alignment with his passion. And so I think when you're there, that's going to give you the fuel needed to get through the hard times and then break through and be willing. We said 24 months, John Kohler, 5 years.
Yeah.
And now, and he's thankful that he didn't quit. And so I'd say don't give up too early. Pivot if you need to, but make sure you're aligned with your passion.
Yeah, we don't put out videos and do this because of somebody else's like or share or heart. We do it because it does something for us internally.
Absolutely.
Yeah, doing it without getting paid.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the truth of it. Okay, here's another question from Jay Wong. What strategies did you use to build your audience engagement? Is life as a full-time YouTuber really like? What's a full-time life really like? typical day?
Yes. Okay. So the strategies to build engagement is asking for it, to say, hey, leave a comment below. I'd love to connect with you down there, and then actually doing it. But I'll take it a step deeper. I will go into someone's comment, click on their avatar, look at their account, find their Twitter, and then message them on Twitter or shoot them a video on Twitter.
That's so powerful.
And then be like, hey, thank you so much for watching my the YouTube videos. I saw your comment. I appreciate you. You're the best. You're awesome. I hope we can connect more in the future. Right there, how many people do you think are doing that?
No, not too many. Because
like zero.
Once you do that, they're like fan for life.
Exactly.
They're like, holy crap.
You just that little bit extra. And so I think caring, like I don't want to, I think do for one what you wish you could do for 1 million. Eventually you'll have 1 million. People, they think too big, like, oh, I'm so busy. It's like, no, you're still doing that. Like, I just want like, 10 deep relationships online.
Yeah, it's like 2 seconds of your time.
Really. Like I can't do it for the millions. It's like when you don't have, like everybody, and Gary Vaynerchuk really influenced that, inspired me that when he had 1 million Twitter followers, I would receive personal messages from him at that level.
I still do.
And so it does scale, but you have to, I think, care and have the heart, and that's huge. I think the day in the life of a full-time YouTuber is this. It needs to be something that you love, because it is a whole lot of work still. But I don't feel like I'm working.
Yeah.
And so day in the life, it's incredible to be able to work from home, to be able to take time off when you want, to have total, I like to say online video is freedom. You boil it down, like it's ultimately, especially when you're ranking videos, because you're building passive assets that give you the freedom to not work if you don't want to. But at the same time, my wife would tell you, like, I still work a lot, and she knows it's what I love to do, and she supports that, and so, but it's so fun. It's so fun, and so editing videos, shooting videos, emailing, talking with brands. For video influencers, we go on tours and we interview people. Just a lot of different kind of cool things. A little bit of travel, some research and shooting. Just kind of cool stuff. It's all just done creatively in the lab. Our team's grown a little bit. We have a summer intern named Jay, who's awesome, and then we have some different people that we're working with. So as things scale, it kind of gets more complex. And again, but at least you have that. If somebody has that in their heart, they're that entrepreneur, you have to pursue that, because it does not like it necessarily gets easier. I think you should never do it because you saw somebody on the cover of a book with a pina colada and the silhouette, they're sitting in a beach chair, and it says the 4-hour work week. Amazing book. And Tim Ferriss is amazing, but he is a good marketer, and he'll even say that you could build that, but like that's kind of a myth to pursue. I want to write a book called The 400-Hour Work Week, that no one's going to buy because that's terrible really marketing. But what's so rad is that it doesn't seem like work when you're really doing what you love. So I would encourage everybody to pursue that. If you can align all those things, it's the ultimate life.
It is. It is. All right, cool. At what point did you feel ready to make YouTube your full-time gig? You had a crisis. We talked about that.
Yeah, we kind of answered that. Yep.
I'd love to quit my day job. Okay, fear. Okay, I think we answered your question. It's Khaleesi's life. So just earlier in the video. Okay, this one is from Rafael Marquez. How do you get paid? And this is in alignment with another question from Amanda Mock. What are the other streams of revenue that you're getting? Because we all know that views and subs are usually how YouTubers get paid. So how are you
super smart. Yeah. So your lab is very smart. That's a great question. I think that probably the first thing to say is that the way, in fact, we just did a talk at VidCon. Benji and I did a presentation, how to go full time with a small audience. And actually, one of the case studies we used, her name's Mermaid Gossip. Good interview to check out on she's in the UK, on our channel. She's like, okay, I get AdSense. Meaning YouTube ads. She goes, I do affiliate marketing. She goes, I get brand deals and sponsorships through, companies or whatever. She has like a lifestyle makeup channel. But then she says, I also blog, so it's then also income off my blog and ads there, and writing for other people. And then she goes, I also run a photo booth. So they have a traveling photo booth that could go to events. And then she also does like client work and freelance work. And I think that like that is a realistic expectation for people as you're hustling and you're growing your channel.
Basically what I'm doing.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's totally multiple flows.
Yeah.
I think then the tipping point, how do we, currently do full-time? We actually are full-time off affiliate marketing by itself.
Wow.
So
from all your product reviews and stuff.
From doing product reviews and stuff. That helps if you're in a space like us where people are looking for higher end products. If you're reviewing lipstick and you're doing affiliate marketing, that's going to be like 4% of $2. It's going to take a while to do a high enough volume. But if you're like reviewing cameras and they're $2,000 and you just get a percentage of that commission with affiliate marketing, it can happen sooner. Side note, if somebody is passionate about tech, if you're listening to this podcast, 3 years from now, I want you to be able to come up to me at an event and say, I did what you said, and now I'm doing this full time. There is still massive room to start tech channels. There's a lot of tech channels.
That's what I was just going to ask you.
It's very crowded.
Yeah.
But when we go to CES in Las Vegas, when we go to NAB, there is so much tech is like taking over the world, and companies can't even get enough people to review their products. Companies can't even, like, there's just so much happening. And so, like, for instance, and there's so many, there's like 12 niches deep within that. I don't really review phones. I don't know about Samsung Galaxies or this or that, the other thing. That's a whole like thing. Yeah. I kind of more on like the video production side. That's a whole thing. The people who could do all live video and like what kind of gear to use for mobile. That's a whole, so many different things. Anyways, like start that if it's your passion, and let's talk in 3 years when you're crushing it. And so yeah, affiliate marketing, AdSense, we could kind of consider a bonus. Do some brand deals. What is cool and what is so amazing is that we were able to from just affiliate marketing essentially cross that threshold of going full time. And then the fourth piece would be our own products. And so having like a course like Video Ranking Academy and building some of those things out.
What's number one for you?
Affiliates.
Affiliates, wow.
It's wow. That's crazy. And it's kind of it's a rare path, but because it's the tech space, it works.
And it's that evergreen content too. That's just going to make money for you while you sleep.
Which is why I'm so passionate about helping others do that and teach them that, because it literally, it's set up in such a way that if we were to just go dark for a month, like dark, like no emails, like nobody calling, that it's not going to drop. That it literally is true passive income, which is pretty rare. A lot of people talk about that on the internet. Yeah. They don't really actually do it, but it is true passive income now. And I've even had great conversations with people. Some people, they want that and they want the ticket to retire for life. If we just did that and then just checked out for 6 months or 12 months, it would just, kind of like attrition. You have to stay current. And so it's like I have this library of ranked videos, but I keep adding to it as like the back end falls off, if that makes sense. Something becomes irrelevant, it's not as popular anymore, somebody else, comes on. But yeah, it's pretty amazing. Ranked videos plus affiliate marketing is full-time passive income for us.
Nice. So as far as the product reviews, are you going out there and using your own money to buy these fancy gadgets all the time? Is your house just full of gadgets that you just don't use, or maybe just reviewing for the channel? Yeah. Some people had this question.
It's a brilliant question. And I mean, I guess if you maybe take it all the way back, the way we started our business was with a small business loan, just like $7,000, but it cost money to get into stuff. But then what I actually realized was like, well, now I have this stuff, and I started to stumble into affiliate marketing. Yeah. And then that is another great point of why you probably should hustle with multiple flows. And so as we would do like wedding videos or client work, we would always be trying to level up our gear. And here's what's cool about it, is it's kind of like this was my thing. Yeah. Like I didn't want to buy TVs, didn't want to buy cars, wasn't trying to buy watches, but I'll drop a lot of money on some L glass. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like this was, and so it was the passion of investing in gear was just related. That this was like lifestyle design. And so yes, buying it yourself, but here's some cool things you could do. Two, you could rent stuff now. I know a lot of guys that would rent stuff like on Borrow Lenses, or try to work something out with maybe a local camera shop or something. Okay. So I think you could just put in hustle, and then eventually you get to the stuff where now you're getting sent free stuff. I get emails all the time for people that actually just want their stuff reviewed, and they're like, hey, we'll just send it out free, we'll send it out free. And that's cool. I know that's the allure of that is attractive, but definitely there's a ton of hustle there, and I think you put up the money yourself. Thus, it's like startup cost. Yeah. Like if you think about our business model, actually has very low startup cost and overhead, especially working from home, but it definitely does have startup cost. I mean, you do need a computer to edit, and you do need software. And then
not just a computer.
Sure, yeah. You do need gear, and you do need all these different things. And so that's a level of startup cost, but sometimes if you're overwhelmed by that, try to start a brick and mortar business, right?
Try to do that. That's crazy.
It's a whole nother level. Yeah, that's insane. So definitely investing, and that's why I like building it on the side.
Gotcha.
So if you've got some cash flow somewhere else, then you can really focus on making that your thing.
Dude, I love it. Okay, last words for the audience. What do you want to say? What do you want to promote? Where can people find you?
Okay, yeah. So, I mean, I'm at Sean Cannell everywhere. That's SeanCannell. Sean Cannell on social media, and love all those channels. Really active on Twitter. Would love to help anybody on Twitter. Just answer questions, point them to videos or whatever. And then videoinfluencers.net is the website, definitely the YouTube channel. And it's so much cool content there. And actually, a cool thing that we have is a guide, 19 things to do every time you upload a YouTube video. You mentioned SEO. That's the big question. Like, well, I want to do that. I want my videos to show up in search. I want my videos to rank, and I want to start getting those views. We kind of just take the guesswork out of it, and it's a checklist of like, okay, make sure you title it right, and make sure you go through the description and do this. There's 19 things, but you just follow the checklist. Every time you upload a video to YouTube. And that's on videoinfluencers.net, or you can go directly there to videoinfluencers.net/start.
Nice. Got it. Okay, Sean, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate it. I have a gift for you.
Oh, thank you.
This is for you. It's signed.
Amazing. And let me just say, absolutely love what you're doing.
Thank you.
And I think I found you first, maybe. I don't know, maybe.
I think on Facebook. We friended on Facebook.
Yeah, we friended on Facebook, but I saw what you're doing.
Out.
I think this book is awesome. I was thumbing through the Kindle, the intro. Everything that you do with your brand is so excellent. I know that your tribe is getting so much value from you. And I just am excited that we're connected and honored that you'd have me on.
I'm honored too, man. I'm very, very grateful, very, very blessed, and you took the time to come out here, so thank you. Yeah, that's my gift to you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. All right, and we're back. That was Sean Cannell from the Video Influencers. You can check out all of his links in the description below or here on the screen. Video Influencers, Think Media TV, Sean Cannell's personal channel. He really understands how to brand himself on YouTube, categorized by certain pieces of content, and having that clarity and focus. And that's something that I think I took away from this, because my personal channel is just kind of everything. I segment things in playlists, which I think helps. But it was another thought to the other passions in my life where I go, maybe I can take some of those passions that are doing perceivably well on YouTube and actually turn that into a full-blown other business, you know what I'm saying? Another revenue stream. And I think that's kind of the biggest thing that I took away from this conversation, amongst very many other things. Another thing that I think kind of was a big theme about this is focus. It's about clarity, right? It's something that evades all of us at some point if we run our own businesses. We want to do so many things. We want to get our hands in so many things, and so many things can excite us, and we want to jump right into them, especially me being a quick start. But that's not always the best thing for you. You know, and that's where, you know, support comes in, mastermind groups, going to events, reaching out of your comfort zone, looking to other ways and people and influencers that are not necessarily in your niche, like YouTubers. Okay, and that's something that I encourage you guys to do after watching this episode, is to go look outside of your realm of industry, of influence, of normal conversation, and see where you can grab and be inspired by other people. I think that's really going to be something that's going to help you in the long run, because you're now pulling these other realms of wisdom from other places, and it's not boring. You know, I feel like we get tired of kind of pushing the same thing over and over again and saying the same thing over and over again. So I would encourage you guys to be original and to own your originality, and to look outside of your comfort zone, to look outside of your circle, to get those ideas and creative means of distributing your content. Okay, so if you like this episode, please leave it a like, leave any comments, questions, feedback for us. If you're still kind of stuck and you feel still limited, even though you understand that video is a very powerful means of getting your message and your business out there and acquiring new leads and stuff like that. But maybe you've got the camera, maybe you've got your phone right there sitting, you maybe even bought a stand for it, but you're just like, I don't know how to leverage video the way that would be effective for my business. I don't know how to put forward the overarching strategy and how it fits into the main cog of my funnel, and making sure that if people see this video, then this happens, and then eventually making a sale. Okay, if you're there, I would love for you to click on this link in the description or on the screen, and that will give you access to kind of my starter package for the person who's still kind of crippled by fear, still not firing on all cylinders on how to use video effectively and maximizing video in their business. I would love for you to go to that link and get started today. Okay, so good things. I will see you next time here in the lab. And once again, my name is Meg, reminding you to get in the lab. We'll see you next time.